Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, we would like to present TFL in D class, and our members are Shinta Ramadhani and Nuro wiladyah. And our material is Implementing Cooperative Learning.
My name is Shinta Ramadhani. In this Implementing Cooperative Learning Introduction. With cooperative learning, students work together in groups whose usual size is 2 to 4 members. Cooperative learning principles and techniques are tools which teachers use to encourage mutual helpfulness in the groups and the active participation of all members. A good deal of research exists in other areas of education suggesting that cooperative learning is associated with benefits in such key areas as learning, self-esteem, liking for school, and interethnic relations. In second and foreign language learning, theorists propose several advantages for cooperative learning, that is, increased student talk, more varied talk, a more relaxed atmosphere, greater motivation, more negotiation of meaning, and increased amounts of comprehensible input. Okay, next topic is how big should group be? Number 1, even 2 people are group. Number 2, generally speaking, the smaller group, the more each member talks and the less chance there is that someone will be left out. Number 3, larger groups are good because they provide more people for doing big tasks, increase the variety of people in terms of skills, personalities, backgrounds, and so on, and reduce the number of groups for the teacher to monitor. And then number 4, many books on cooperative learning recommend groups of 4. The next is, how should group be formed? Number 1, most experts on cooperative learning suggest that teacher-selected groups work best, at least until students become more proficient at collaboration. Number 2, in creating teacher-assigned teams, factors to consider include language proficiency, first language, sex, race, and diligence. Number 3, an effective way to set up mixed proficiency groups is to band the learners' names into, say, 4 proficiency clusters from high to low, and then select randomly from within each band so that groups will involve learners with a range of proficiencies. Number 4, random grouping is quick and easy and conveys the idea that one can work with anyone. Number 5, many ways exist for randomizing groups. The most common is counting off. Number 6, other ways to set up random groups include using playing cards, giving out numbered pieces of paper, and distributing cards with different categories on them and letting students group themselves according to the category. Number 7, the number of students in the class may not fit evenly with the number of students per group. For example, if there are 47 students in the class and you want groups of 4, 3 students will be left over. It might be best to form 11 groups of 4 and 1 group of 3. And then number 8, when students become good at cooperative group work, they can group themselves, for example, by interests, for self-directed projects. When students are working in their group, how can the teacher get the class's attention? Number 1, a signal can be used to tell the students that groups should quickly bring their discussions to a temporary halt and face the teacher. One popular signal is the teacher raising a hand. Number 2, other possible signals include ringing a bell, playing a musical instrument, blowing a whistle, snapping one's fingers, and flicking the lights on and off. Number 3, some teachers play music in the background as groups study together. In this case, turning off the music can be the attention of signal. Number 4, when students lead class activities, they can use the same signal. Number 5, one student in each group can take the role of group checker with the responsibility of watching out for the teacher's signal and being sure the group responds to the signal quickly. Many other types of roles can be used to facilitate group functioning. Number 6, if some groups are not responding quickly to the attention signal, rewards such as praise can be given to encourage this component of smooth functioning group activities. And then, what can be done if the noise level becomes too high? Number 1, one student per group can be the noise monitor or quiet captain whose function is to urge the group to collaborate actively, yet quietly. Number 2, the closer together students sit, the more quietly they can talk. Number 3, along with sitting close together, students can use special quiet voices, for example, 6-inch voices or 30-centimeter voices. Number 4, a signal similar to the one used to get the class attention can be used as a sign to continue working but a bit more quietly. Number 5, Kagan 1992 suggests stoplight cards. A green card goes on the desk groups if they are working together quietly. A yellow card indicates they need to quiet down a bit. When a red card is put on their decks, the group should become completely silent, and all should silently count to 10 before starting to work again. And then what can we do if student does not want to work in a group? Number 1, discussing the advantages that students can derive from learning in groups may help overcome resistance to group activities. Number 2, students may look more favorably on cooperative learning if they understand that talking with others is a language learning strategy that they can apply outside of class as well. Number 3, students should realize that studying in groups is only one of several ways of learning that will go on in the class. Number 4, group games may encourage students to look forward to other group learning activities. Number 5, start with pairs and tasks that require exchange of information. Number 6, students who do not want to study in groups can be allowed to work on their own.
The next is, what if some groups finish earlier than others? The first is, check to see if the groups have done through the assignment properly. And the second, have groups that finish early compare what they have done with other groups that also finish early. And the third is, have groups discuss how they work together. Then, because sometimes smooth functioning groups can provide good models or others, you might want to have exemplary groups explain their group process. This might help all groups work together more efficiently. And number 4 is, develop 1 or 2 sponge activity. Sponge activity are short activity related to the main task. They soak up the extra time between when the first and last group finish. And the 5 is, set time limits, then discourage groups for dawdling. These time limits are flexible. If groups are working well but need more time, the limit can be extended. And the 6 is, ask students to help other groups that have not yet finished. And the 7 and the last is, group that finish early can work on homework or other assignment. Okay, and the next is, what if a few students are frequently absent? The first is, assign the student as extra members group. For example, if students are working in groups of 4, add such student as the 5th member of groups. And the second is, assign tasks that can be accomplished in the class period. And the third is, being a member of a group may give such student a feeling belonging and reason to come to school that they didn't have before. Groups may also help them to be more successful in school and thus to enjoy being at school more. And the fourth is, coach student is how to use appropriate peer pressure to encourage frequently absent members to come to school and to complete their portion of group tasks. Or In some cases, of course, absent students may have family obligation or other non-school reason for missing class. And the five is, if a group working cooperative jigsaw activities gives the missing pieces to whole group. And the sixth is, make sure that group have contingency plans in case members are missing. Learning to make such plan is an important group skill because absences are also common problems in group outside of school. And the seventh is, in an ongoing activity, as group to update absent member when they return to school. This encourages the student develop peer tutoring skill. Item group responsible for contacting absent members to inform them of what they missed and to make sure that they know the assignment are. And the last is, be prepared to adjust grading if such students leave their group in a large, giving absent student lower mark. And the next is, how long should groups stay together? Okay, the first we have to do is keeping groups together for a fairly long period. 4 to 8 weeks gives them a chance to become comfortable with one another, allow them to form a group identity and bond, and gives them opportunity to learn how to overcome difficulty, then have working together. This is where spending time during or after cooperative activities then have groups processes their interaction comes in handy. And the second is, groups that stay together for at least few weeks facilitate long-term projects, such as those using through cooperative learning, method group investigation. And the third is, try to resist the temptation to disband groups that are not working well. Stress to students that we need to learn and be able to work with all sorts of people, including those from B, at least initially. Don't use them building activities and instruction in collaborative skill to help create a spirit of togetherness in a group. And the fourth is, forming heterogeneous group according to such criteria as preference, sex, first language, and personality is a lot of work for a teacher. Therefore, one would not want to do that too often. And the five is, even while students are in a long-term groups, short activity can be done with different group configurations. This may add a bit of variety. And the sixth is, avoid keeping groups together if they begin to become cliquish. And the next is, how should group be ended? The first, all group can end with a statement by learners and the teacher, not only about the content learned, but also about the learning process. And the second, when long-standing groups are disbanded, there should be some kind of cluster activities for members to thank each other for their help and sum up what has been learned about working in a group. This can be in oral or written form. And the third is, group mates can write letters of reference to be given to member of the person new group. And number four is, group pictures can be taken. And the last is, group product can be posted or published. This aids a sense of achievement and gives credibility to group's work. Also, group product can serve as vehicle from assessment by individual groups and teacher. And the third and the last is, what the percentage of the time should cooperative learning be used? Okay, in the first, no one suggests that the class be organized in cooperative group all the time. Many cooperative learning activities combine groups component with components in which the teacher lecture or demonstrates and other in which students work alone. And the third is when student and or teacher are unfamiliar with cooperative learning, it is best to start slowly. Use one cooperative learning technique, such as three-step interview or numbered head together several times to allow students to become accustomed to collaboration. And the fourth is discuss with students the whys and hows of learning together. And the five is making cooperation content them helps students to into working together. For example, once we ask students to write individually about a successful group experience in which they had participated. Then groups were used to provide feedback, interact with colleagues for support and idea, and the last is find the right balance of teaching modes according to your philosophy of your reading of research, including your own research. Students and what seem to be working best. Students need to know how to cooperative compete and work alone. Okay, thank you. That's enough from us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.